Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here. Alright, now continuing Nick Jaladian with another Nickelodeon movie review, with a review of Clockstoppers. So, yeah, this movie came out in 2002, and yeah, 2002, it was kind of a mixed year as far as movies go. And there were like some big movies that were released in 2002. There was like Attack the Clones, The Two Towers, Spider-Man, and yeah, there were like some other movies like that also, and yeah, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Yeah, so yeah, 2002 like had some big movies like that coming out, but there were also like some really terrible movies that were released that year, like Scooby Doo, Men in Black 2, and Master of Disguise. Oh, so yeah, 2002 it was kind of a mixed year for movies, and as far as this movie goes, yeah, not a lot of people really like this movie. And yeah, and I will admit this movie, it's not very good. I mean, it's not like a terrible movie or anything. I mean, it's not really like as bad as Snow Day really was, but I mean, it's really like not that great at all. I mean, I guess like the idea kind of sounded cool. I mean, just have like a science organization or something. I'm not really sure what it was, or like just some like kind of science corporation or some kind of thing. Just like trying to create a new project like for hyper time. But I mean, yeah, the way they do it in this movie, it's just really not good. I mean, it just has just about a bunch of cliches that we've seen before. Of like the stuff where have a guy trying to flee and then gets caught and is held prisoner or something, and then he eventually like comes across the good guys and helps them to try to stop the agency, and then it seems like he's gonna just quit on them, and then comes back in the end, and also have this thing where like, the main character, he's like gotten into some trouble or something, and he tries to tell them like what happened, and of course they don't believe them, and yeah, and we also like have the crush on the girl, and they're like fall for each other, and just yeah, it's just like a bunch of cliches that we've seen before, or in a bunch of like story lines that we've seen before, and I mean, it's just like it's dumb, and it's really not done very well at all in this movie. I mean, of course, like have the obsessed, like the workaholic father, also, and like the obsessive and like the family doesn't have a good relationship, especially with the father and the son. I mean, we're just seeing like a bunch of these things that we've seen a million times before, and these are just not done good at all. I mean, I just Nickelodeon, they really don't do well with their original ideas for movies. I mean, especially yeah, I mean, they can do it good if they like have it with a show or something, or like I said before, Harry the Spy was from a book, so yeah, they had stuff to work with there, and with their movies that they have based on their TV shows, whether it was before, during, or after the show aired. And I mean, they still do have stuff to work with that, but when they try to come up with their own original ideas, like they did for Snow Day, and like they do here, they just really don't do it well at all. Man, I mean, I mean, it is like kind of a cool premise with the hyper time work that they're trying to do, and how they do it with watches and stuff. I mean, yeah, they do like how it's kind of like a cool premise to it, but it's just like it's handled really badly, and it's really just messed up with the way they do it. So yeah, not a very good movie. I would give this probably 1.5 stars out of 4. Yeah, I mean, like I said, not terrible or anything, not as bad as Snow Day, but yeah, handled pretty stupidly, and it's told really dumb. And yeah, it's just like completely unoriginal with the way that they do this. I mean, with just a bunch of cliches that we've seen a bunch of times. So, yeah, I just really don't have a lot to say about this movie. I mean, just it's really just not done very well. I mean, it has kind of like an okay cast to it. There's like Jesse Bradford, French Stewart, or Robin Thomas, Julia Sweeney. So, yeah, kind of like an alright cast to it. Yeah, not a lot of stars in it, really. So, yeah, I just really don't know what else to say about it. So, yeah, let me just go through it real quick. So, as I said, this has the thing where like they have somebody, the corporation, and that's working on this project has like somebody that is working for them, but he wants to flee, and this is the scientist Earl Doppler, who's played by French Stewart. He's in a disguise, and he's trying to flee with the their watch for the test that they're using for the experiment. But he eventually does get caught, and yeah, they just hold him off with them to work on their experiment. Then we have our main character, Zach, and yeah, he just really doesn't have a good relationship with his father. He kind of just is going to him, trying, like, visiting him in his class because his dad is like a college professor or something. And then he's just going to his dad trying to ask for a car, and then he eventually, he, like, comes across this new girl at his school from Venezuela, and Francesca. And he, of course, like at first he's trying to hit on her, but of course she's not interested. But then later on, after he sticks up for her with some bullies, she then develops a thing for him, and then he just wants to spend time with her, and she agrees. And as Dr. Doppler is working on the hypertime experiment for the Science Corporation, it's showing that he is in like a cyber time hole or something that is making him like age 20 years older. And then he tells like the boss for the corporation that he actually sent a prototype watch to the 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 father, who was actually a former colleague of his. But then Zack eventually does find the watch, and then and as he's spending time with Francesca, after Francesca asks him for time, he checks it, and it like has some military time, and he tries to reset it, but then then starts a hyper time generation, and then it just shows like what seems as if time is freezing. And then Francesca eventually also discovers the power of the watch, but then they discover they see stuff is still really slowly moving. And so they discover that they're just in a hyper time in which they're moving just really fast, so with everything else just being very, very slow. And then they just end up screwing around with the watch, just using it for fun, causing chaos and trouble. And then one night, as Zack is heading home, he then as he still has it set in hyper time, he then sees there's a light inside his house, and it shows the representatives from the corporation searching his house for the watch. And then the corporation representatives eventually discover Zack is watching them, and then they try to chase him down, and then Zack eventually he comes across the van that they actually drove in, and then Dr. Doppler then pulls him in and just has Zack drive off to outrun the scientists. And then, and as Dr. Doppler's trying to get the watch back from Zack, then they turn off the hyper time, and then they're just back in normal time. And then eventually Zack just ends up crashing the car into the river, and he also sticks his hand the watch is on the water, and then that ends up damaging the watch. Then it shows then Zack waking up in the hospital, and then it's showing that he's then being charged for stealing the van, and then Zack just tried to tell the cops what had actually happened, and tries to tell them the power of the watch, but of course they're not believing him. And then the scientists are trying to chase him down again, but then in the hyper time again, Zack then switches places with another cop, and he's able to just sneak off. And knowing that he's now wanted by the police and the FBI, he's just trying to find some shelter to stay in. And and then he eventually comes across Francesca, and she now knows the position he's in, and Zack now knows that the scientists are going after his dad. And then Zack and Francesca then just try to race to the hotel that his dad's staying in before the scientists can actually get to him first. At the same time, Dr. Doppler is also looking for Zack's dad. And then they eventually do all arrive at the hotel that his dad's staying in, but it turns out that the scientists actually get to Zack's dad before Dr. Doppler or Zack and Francesca do, and then they take off with him. And then, Zack and Francesca are just trying to save his dad some more, and then they end up coming across Dr. Doppler again. And he's trying to take the watch back again, and then he sees that the watch is damaged. And then Zack and Francesca then knocked Dr. Doppler out and then held him hostage, and Dr. Doppler was telling Zack and Francesca actually what was going on, and they just basically hold him hostage and force him to help them repair the watch. And then Dr. Doppler just said that Zack's dad was actually kind to him and was basically like a father to him, and so he agreed to help Zack and Francesca save Zack's dad. And then he helped them fix the broken watch, and he also made guns for them to actually take people out of hypertime and also fight back against the scientists, because they actually had guns loaded with some frozen nitrogen, and then it would end up freezing anybody and putting them back in normal time. And then the repaired watch was actually put into the programming for it was actually in another watch band of the same look. And then Zack just held on to the other broken watch, and he said that he would just sell it on eBay and stuff. And then then Zack and Francesca then arrived back at the corporation building where his dad was, and then they went to go save him. And then Dr. Doppler just seemed like he was just gonna turn back, seeing how he just had memories that he didn't want of being at that place, and then it appeared that he was just gonna leave and let Zack and Francesca handle it themselves. But then eventually Zack and Francesca get caught by the scientists, and then they end up being thrown into the cell with Zack's dad, where he's actually working to complete their research and experiment. And then trying to think a way to get out, then it's shown that as Zack was in an elevator before being captured, and then the leader of the corporation took the watch. It then showed that Zack had actually switched out watches, and he actually still had the good watch. And then he used it again to get out of the cell. But yeah, the feature for the watch and the like result was like different than this time than like just being in hyper time with everything freezing. Instead, like Zach had just like become like light, and he had like he just was becoming like faster than light and the stuff. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Then they managed to are eventually able to break out from the cell. Oh, and then like the other agents and it's all arrive, and then they end up like taking out all the goons of the corporation. And then eventually, then like the leader of the corporation was like having Zach, Francesca, and Zach's dad all cornered. But then, and Doppler then ended up shooting the leader with the nitrogen and then freezing him, and then like just putting him back in normal time, beating him. And then yeah, all the members of the corporation got arrested and all the watches got confiscated and all that. Yeah. And then yeah, Dr. Doppler then just used the the machine that he had made to just reverse the aging effects on him to return him back to his normal age. And it actually like ended up like just like rever- reversing his age so much that it just made him back into a teenager. Or yeah. And he still had like his full grown own self voice, yeah. And then it just showed like Zach the car that he got, and he was with Francesca, and yeah, he just him and his dad reunited with his mom and sister, and then yeah, it showed him, Francesca, Dr. Doppler, and Zach's sister all just driving away in his new car. And as they were driving off, it was shown that Zach still had the hyper time watch and like just driving off while in the hyper time, and yeah, just all that, just like a last minute gag, I guess. Yeah, and so yeah, that's the movie. So yeah, well, this 1.5 stars out of 4. I mean, yeah, just it's really handled really dumb, and yeah, this it's just told really dumb, and it's just like yeah, it's just not really good. I mean, there's just like a lot of movies that do this kind of stuff better. I mean, yeah, I remember like during this time, like the way this is told, kind of like another spy movie or something. Yeah, there were like kids movies were like kind of doing this at the time. There was like Spy Kids, and there was Agent Cody Banks with Frankie Muniz. So yeah, so yeah, this kind of premise was like used a lot at the time, but yeah, they real often were not done really well, and yeah, this movie is one of them. So yeah, 1.5 stars out of 4. I just really don't know what else to say. All right, so yeah, that does it for my review of Clockstoppers. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.